up, everybody? Sean and Tommy with you, recapping day one of the 2025 CrossFit Games. I gotta admit, surprised. I'm surprised. I enjoyed watching the events. I'm not surprised because I enjoyed watching the events. I'm surprised because we got some drama after day one.
We do. It was funny. One of our big questions for the women was like, will Tia have it wrapped up by Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
And through the first two events, it was kind of deja vu from a few years ago, where it was like, is she gonna run away with this? And then a minor execution error kind of evens the playing field again. And I think water will find its level ultimately, but it has certainly added some drama because we have seen. It feels like we've seen more uncharacteristic execution mistakes across multiple athletes than years past.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a really good point. So let's jump in. Let's look at the men's leaderboard. And I mean, come on. After day one, what more could you ask for? You have two guys with 260 points tied atop the overall leaderboard. That's Jason Hopper and Jay Crouch. And I'm sorry, if you thought Jay Crouch would be anywhere near the lead after day one, you were either his parents or related to him. That was not a name we had up there. But then look at this, man. You got 20 points separate first through seventh. That's it. It is jam packed up there.
4 guys tied at 240.
It's unbelievable. And Harry Lightfoot, he's another guy. I don't know if expected to see him in the top 10. I mean, it's still early, but day one did not disappoint.
The UK had a great day one.
Mm-hmm.
The Union Jack, is it the Union Jack flying up there? And I guess even by virtue of Australia, the Commonwealth had a huge day here.
Yeah.
God save the Queen. But I mean, between both men and women, it was great to see athletes, even if it didn't carry over event to event necessarily, athletes like in their element doing things that you would expect from them.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds weird to say this, but Jeff Adler in that first event, if I told you it would be Jeff and Roman to the finish line and Jeff would pull ahead, you'd be like, all's right in the world.
Yeah, makes sense.
If you're like, hey, guess what? Like Ricky on day one is going to blast something and it's going to be close. Like him and Justin would have been an awesome race if they're in the same heat. Unfortunately, they weren't. But you had Justin come out and set the time to beat, and you had Ricky, beat him by less than half of a second. And that felt like, just a few years ago when there was the back and forth with Justin chasing down Ricky with the white leader's jersey. And then the final event, Hopper, which you got to give it to him. He was John at Castro during the athlete briefing for that event because Castro was like, this is going to stop it in your tracks. And Hopper kind of like, what? And Castro's like, basically like, I hope you finish last. And Hopper's like, hold my beer. Or sorry, hold my hair bleach.
And I think this is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time Jason Hopper has been in the overall lead at the CrossFit Games, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that I was thinking this today. He's got a little Noah Olson in him, kind of captain come out hot, sort of fade in the back. And we saw that, I think, a little bit today, at least in all crossed up. He had really well. But then give him credit because you corrected that. And he finished fourth in that event. So it's not like that was like detrimental to his performance. And then he had an event win. This was not the guy I expected to be leading after day one. I thought Adler would be there. And you talked about execution. He had one. He had an execution problem. And I think, I don't think it's ever a fitness issue with him. And it's the same story with Tia. And we'll talk about her in a second. But yeah, Adler takes that 11th place and all crossed up. And, he's only 20 points out. Traditionally does well, on the weekend. We got 7 events left. But I think for me, the surprises on the men's side, there's a lot. Hopper in the lead, Jay Crouch right up there in second place, Krenikoff and Garrard pretty much where I thought they would be. Didn't think Adler would be in 5th. And I thought Dallin Pepper would be higher. He's right now in 9th place with 185 points.
Yeah, he never quite found his groove there. And even just watching him in all crossed up and the pegboards, maybe there's just some of those movements, the mixture isn't quite right for him. but it never quite felt like the intensity and focus and really just like the sweet spot that we saw from him last year, or at least in some high level competitions recently.
Mhm.
Um, it's really tough because I think, outside of the pretty straightaway first event, there were a lot of opportunities for execution errors. Obviously, there's the double under crossovers. There was a very unique um, standard with the dumbbell and how do you manage it. Um, the obviously starting with 20 wall walks kind of puts people in a weird position with their shoulders. Then you have the pegboards with which I don't remember the glass or the plexiglass pegboards having as much of an issue as it seemed there was to this year.
Yeah, a
Typically,
lot of people were slipping.
and to the point where you saw a lot of athletes like bringing out towels in the end. Hopper had the great technique where he put the towel by his name placard that they had to run to make sure everybody was covering the same ground. And it felt really odd. I mean, there is a difference. There's no surprise. The plexiglass, like once there's moisture there, I don't know how humid it is or how humid it was in the arena. It's really hard to get moisture off, and sometimes chalk doesn't always help. Um, and it seemed like there were a few boards that maybe got some, or an athlete maybe like forearms started to
Mhm.
sweat, and you see a lot of athletes wear the big wristbands and sweatbands to try and avoid that. But like Tia was a victim of that. We saw a couple of athletes on the men's side do that, but Hopper looked unbothered by this
Yeah. Yeah, I was impressed.
event. He he did not look like winded, tired, anything like that. And it just seemed like in complete control. It felt like a Matt Fraser win that we
Yeah,
were used to seeing,
yeah,
where it
no,
just looked like he was playing a different game on that event specifically.
that's a really good point. Here, I'm gonna switch over to the women's side so we can get there, 'cause that to me is just as interesting because, like you said, Tia goes out and wins the first 2 events, and I honestly thought she was gonna win every one until maybe the 1 rep max back squat. Right, I thought she was gonna be a sweep until then, and then but it wasn't. She took 16th. I think that's her lowest finish since, the first time we saw what was the single unders. Remember she tripped up on a single under? That was
Yep.
what, 2 years ago?
I believe it
It was
was,
2023.
yeah, it
No,
was,
it was 222
yep,
because she wasn't there in 23. But
yeah,
I think that's her lowest finish since then. Like, and it's so any other athlete, you see first, 16th, you're like, oh, that's a great run. Good job. But for her, when you've won what, a third of the events in which you've competed, anything outside the top 5 is a shock. And that's just a testament to how good she is. But
yeah.
I was surprised watching that event and how she struggled on the
It
peg.
is. It did seem very uncharacteristic, and like there was just something not, for I guess, pun intended, something just wasn't sticking.
Mhm.
We've seen Tia do pegboards well before. We've seen her have no problem with that. Obviously, below parallel on the barbell is not an issue for her either. It's hard to it's hard to really say outside of maybe that there was moisture on the board, maybe something uncharacteristic with the pegboard happened with her that got her outside of her element. Maybe it's in something that she hasn't done a ton of in her training with the high
Mm.
rocks focus, and just it's there's certain things like I was having a conversation with someone at the gym earlier today about this because they hadn't done a ton of pegboards, but they're very strong upper body, everything like that. I'm like, if you have the strength, pegboards are really more of like a rhythm and skill thing, and I likened it to the way the average person attacks wall walks in
Yeah.
that you have the capacity to do it, but you need to kind of grease that like almost like that fine that like motor groove and figure out, all right, I'm going to do this many steps. I'm going to put my hand here, put my hand here, put my hand here. And then after a few, like after a week, you kind of got it,
Mhm.
you know? And maybe maybe it was just a weird, odd oversight. It's really hard to say. I'd be interested to see some of the breakdown for her because I'm sure we'll get a breakdown from her about that event, after the weekend's over. But it tripped up quite a few people.
Yeah.
Austin Hatfield being one as well. Had a rough go at it. You saw some athletes like not even get through it and get time capped. I think Braun Olenkiewicz even said something along the lines he's never had pegboards go that way for him. So it was an interesting kind of mixture for sure.
Yeah. A lot of the chat between Chase and Adrian, who, by the way, did a hell of a job. Great job, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Focus a lot on the shoes, footwear, like you said. With the men, they were wiping them down. I don't know if you can wear whatever you want, right? So some athletes may have had shoes that were a little more grippy on that.
Mm-hmm.
May not have. I don't know. That's what it looked like, because it's not a fitness issue with Tia. It will never be a fitness issue. It's just an execution issue. It's like with the 3 years ago, the single under. That's not a
Yeah.
fitness issue. Can't
No.
do a damn single under, so that costs her.
And that was a threshold workout to where she didn't make it to the next grouping,
Right.
so it capped her how well she could do. She
Mhm.
finished 23rd that year. Interestingly enough, she had two finishes out to the top 15, which is very uncharacteristic for her. But by the time she had the 17th in Alpaca, it
Mhm.
didn't matter at that point. And Mal at the time finished 18th, so she just stayed ahead of her closest athlete. But yeah, still interesting. I like that. If you're the CrossFit Games squad right now, you're stoked that it wasn't just a runaway in day one,
Well,
and
yeah.
you're stoked at how the leaderboard specifically right now looks.
Well, let's talk about that, because Toomey's your leader at 242. But right behind her, two athletes tied at 236. That's Lydia Fish. She's the Jay Crouch, or Jay Crouch is the Lydia Fish of whichever analogy you want to make with that, because I don't think anybody thought Lydia Fish was going to be in second place. Lucy Campbell, I don't think is that big of a surprise, because a lot of people have been impressed with what she's been doing. You hear her name a lot. She's up there at 236 as well. And then there's a bit of a drop, but then it's still tight, right? You got Maddie Sturt in fourth with 192 points, and then 17 points separate her from Fisa Gaffi in ninth. So it's 4 through 9's pretty tight. And you got
Yeah,
Amy Kringle in that group, Daniel Brandon, Ariel Lowen, Marian Von Rohr, and Fisa Gaffi. But I talked about the biggest surprises on the men's side. I mean, for me, biggest surprises on the women's side is Lydia Fish.
holy
And she was
smokes!
fourth, a fifth, and a second
Mid,
for a rookie.
I was gonna say, hey, maybe she knows that she's got a little windfall coming her way from the support from Third Z.
Yeah, that's a shout out to Thirdsy for supporting her. That's right. I mean,
Yeah.
remember what was it? You had Jungle Karma with Jim Rome. Remember that?
Yes.
You got
Yeah.
some Thirdsy Karma or something. She got whatever. It's working, and she's only. I mean, I can't imagine you're a rookie. It's your first time at the games, and you look at the leaderboard, and maybe I don't know if she's one of those people that pays attention to that stuff, but you look up and you're only 6 points back of the greatest CrossFit competitor of all time. Like, what's
Yeah.
that do for you?
I mean, training think tank put up an Instagram post, I think, of her on her phone, basically being like, "I wasn't even supposed to be here." Like,
Dante and Clerks was supposed to be here today.
it's like that's great, well played. But
Yeah.
but it also just speaks to the parity right now, because
Mhm.
I mean, Lucy Campbell's the only person without a finish outside of the top 10, and most athletes have a finish like. You either have multiple finishes outside the top 10 or finish outside of the top 25. I mean, Amy Kringle went second, third, 29th,
Yeek.
and is in fifth.
Yeah.
Danielle right behind her, 8th, second, 24. So maybe the climbing couplet is the weird fluctuating workout, and we see things kind of get back to normal, because, we got a I guess you could call tomorrow traditional moving day, right?
Mm-hmm. There's 4
Because
events.
there's 4 events.
Well, yeah.
Because yeah,
One of them was back to back. So yeah, 4.
yeah.
All right.
So because the most points are on the table, and yeah, it's I'll be with you on this. I really enjoyed watching the event. Um, there were a few funny graphic snafus.
Yeah,
Did you see Wooly post that?
I did. And I hate that,
I
because the guys in the trailer are my boys. I can't
100%.
call them out. But yeah, that was someone just forgot to hit save on the I don't know what it was, but yeah.
The irony was, one of them said, "Hit enter as many times as
Yeah.
you please,"
I
and it
saw.
was like, "You didn't hit enter." Oh.
Yeah. Hey, you
But
know what? But here's the thing. If that's the worst thing that happened in the broadcast, we're in a pretty good spot.
in a great spot.
And
Great
again,
spot.
I thought Chase and Adrian and Mike Arsenault all did
Hmm.
fantastic. Bill Gaudette and his crew. Bethany Shadburn
Yeah. Heck
was
yeah.
fantastic. So kudos to the whole crew. But yeah, that was a couple little graphic errors
Yeah,
in
for
there.
sure.
You want to look at what's up for day 2 first, or you want to talk about our best moment of the day?
I was gonna say a little surprised to see Brooke Wells down in 24th.
Yeah, I'm not. I
Uh,
don't.
which is weird because she was 15th, 19th, 22nd. Is it? Am I weird in saying that it doesn't feel like that should be put you in 24th? But I think because it's only a 30-person field, it's
Yeah,
just a little bit different calculus this year.
yeah. No, I think that's
But
the case. I think that she's retiring. Last year probably just there to enjoy it. I don't doesn't need to prove anything else. But yeah,
tom-
I didn't think she would be in that position, but I didn't think she'd be in the top 10
tomorrow will be a swing for the fences event for her to start.
for sure. Yeah,
Medium run, she's a good runner in that medium distance. Deadlifts, handstand walk. That's something she would traditionally kick the crap out of.
yeah.
So
So
Albany grip trip.
yeah, Albany Grip Trip is 5 rounds for time, 300-meter run, 12 deadlifts, and a 100-foot handstand walk. 220 for the women, 350 for the men. Then we have the 1 rep max back squat. That's going to be fun. And then we go throttle up and hammer down. And I think that was just announced
Yep.
pretty recently. So it's back to back. So the first part, throttle up, 35-calorie ski erg, 28 chest to bar pull ups, 24 burpee box jump overs. And the athletes will be wearing vests. Women 16 pounds, men 22 pounds. Women use a 20-inch box, men use a 24-inch box. Then 7 minutes after event 6 ends, am I reading that correctly? Starting 7 minutes after, okay. 30, it's hammered down. 35-calorie C2 bike, 28 bar muscle ups, and then 24 burpee box jump overs, and you've ditched the vest at this point.
I like this.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that one. And then they'll end the day with that. So 400 points up for grabs on day 2. And I think we know we're still waiting on the final 2 events because all
Yep.
that's left on day 3 right now is running as well, and that's been announced. But yeah, I think it's gonna be good, man. Like I didn't expect to have this much intrigue after day 1. And of course you can't, like, there's the majority of the vast majority of the points are still out there. But given who was in the field, especially on the women's side, and who was not in the field, I more or less thought this was going to be a coronation and not a competition. It is a competition right now. Now that may change on day 2. I like all these for Tia as well. I mean, how can you not? She's won a third of the events in which she's competed.
Yeah, for sure. Also, there's 2 events announced on Sunday already. If you,
Oh, they
I
have.
think
Okay.
yep. Scroll
Do I,
up.
need, do I need to refresh my? Oh, there we go. Yeah, going dark. Sorry,
Yeah, I was like
we're
the
just waiting on the last
handstand
one.
push-up one. Yep.
Yeah, 50
But
calories. My bad. Uh, it's late. 50 calories on the Echo bike. We'll get to that tomorrow. But anyway, there's 2 events announced of the 3 on the final day. You got going dark and running as well. All right, that's just bad
Mhm.
scrolling on my part. Okay, moment of the day. What was it for you?
Ooh, that's tough. I really liked Fee. I really liked Fee winning the climbing couplet.
That was awesome.
That was a pretty cool moment for
Uh,
her. And just the energy she brings always seems to that kind of like effervescent bubbliness that like in a moment like that to close out the first day. I really enjoyed that. Um, I'll say I might have to go with. Does it count as one event? Because at one moment, if I go like the Justin Ricky back and forth, even though
yeah,
they're
I
separate,
think that's
just
fine.
because it was like it was one result tied into 2 heats, and it was like Justin set the stage for Ricky to chase him down, and Ricky overshot the double under crossovers and accidentally skipped past it and came back, and it came down to a half second. Like those are the races you want to
Yeah,
see. So that's what I
yeah.
was really excited about.
I mean, I think for me it was Hopper. You know, kind of little swag going over the finish line. Like
Hmm.
I like this. I think that's great. I think that endears him to the crowd. And I'm happy for the guy too. Because he's first time in the lead. Uh, I don't think a lot of people had him winning the CrossFit Games or even being, having an opportunity to lead the CrossFit Games. So I really like that moment for him.
Hmm.
Is I think that's like a personal sort of just like get over the hump thing now.
Yeah,
And then on the women's side, I got to go with the moment they had with Tia and Willow. I thought that was great.
that was awesome.
A big pop from the crowd. They seemed to like it. Willow got into it.
Yeah,
Tia got a little emotional. But yeah, man, I thought that was a great day 1.
Yeah.
You know, it was hopefully there's some, more people in the crowd this come the weekend, and usually there are. Uh,
Yeah.
but that was kind of noticeable for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
but again, I don't for as a viewer at home, it really didn't bother me that much because I thought what was going on the floor was really fun to watch.
Mhm. For
So,
sure. And
right.
I was just
But
saying, and Lauren's doing a great job on the ground,
yeah,
getting interviews, handing out sunglasses. Our friends at Cutter are hooking people up with CrossFit trivia glasses. I think Lauren, I think she got something like 20 interviews today. She's cranking.
yeah,
Um,
she's the queen of hustle for a reason. Oh, actually, I
yep.
wanted to call it the one from Adler here. I wonder. Um, this was because we talked about this. We might as well let's give Lauren some props. Let's just show this.
Also,
Hopefully, was that?
I will say one kind of like, maybe it's kind of like a spirit of the games type moment, but Syria Meha finishing third in the climbing couplet,
That was
and
cool.
there was a IG post that I saw people watching at home in Albania,
Mhm.
and it was just a bunch of guys in Albania watching her compete, and obviously that area of the world does not have a rich competitive history at the games, so
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to see someone kind of breaking through that ground.
So this is let's just show let's give Lauren some props. Here's Adler.
When are you going to bring
Oh,
it back?
not working. Hang on.
Oh,
Yeah.
I heard it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not tonight. I don't think so. This went really not great. The crossover was the stressful part, and that went super fine. The dumbbell just didn't feel good at all. So poor time on this workout. 13th. That sucks.
When you know that you go into an event wearing the leader's jersey and it's going to be taken from you, how does that add to maybe the fight or the dog in you that's going to come back on the floor?
No, it doesn't change anything for me. I kind of knew that I was gonna give it back today, but can I get it back after this next one? Maybe. Who knows? But the first day, I don't really care. It's all about Sunday. So, gotta rack up the points. This 13th is not helping at all. So, gotta make it up somewhere else.
Walk and talk. That's a
Glad
tough one.
you can hear that because it was coming out of my computer speaker. So as long as you hear it, I'm good.
Oh yeah, I heard it loud and clear. That's a tough one too. She's probably looking over her shoulder, make sure she doesn't flip over a guardrail.
Yeah, no, I've seen that happen before, but yeah, Lauren's doing great work on the ground. So, she's got all kinds of interviews up on her page and the Talking Elite Fitness account. So
Mhm.
check that out. But what are you looking forward to watching tomorrow? I mean, for me, it's the back-to-back ones to close it out because I like those
Yeah,
events. Yeah, I like those back-to-back ones.
yeah. I think that one being announced is going to be cool, especially the vest element. But I am genuinely curious to see what the max back squat is going to be.
Yeah.
I I don't like that's one of the things I feel like a lot of the games athletes like they might work up to it in the off season or something like that when
Mhm.
they're doing the heavy lifts. But you talk to like when the max deadlift came up at Rogue, a lot of them were like, I can't remember the last time I did a true 1 rep max, right? I usually work up to a heavy single or like a heavy double or percentage work, and really curious to see what the top end squat because, and this is funny, I think this had to have been tied in. Remember there was like the 500 back squat 5 minute mile challenge.
Mhm.
If you know anything about Castro, he likes to work in breadcrumbs for those types of things, but separated by a calendar year. Like he'll throw components in and mix them together, right? Like,
Mhm.
and we had the mile test last year. We had the 1 rep max back squat, and I think that's to create dialogue around that to some in a sneaky way at least.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right about that. So,
Yeah.
all right. That's it. Thanks for listening. Just wanted to get on here, recap some things, share some thoughts because I was pretty jazzed watching it today. Like it was fun. That was a good day one, and day two, 400 points up for grabs. You know how tight it is on the men's side. Like we could be in for a really solid final 2 days. Like, I'm
I,
excited.
I I will say this. The abbreviated day schedule and the abbreviated heat schedule due to it being 30 athletes. I have to imagine that the crew working is a big fan.
Oh, I was thinking about that. Like, man, done at 6 p.m. I mean, you remember those times when we'd be done at like 9 and then we'd have meetings for 2 hours and then we'd go to bed at midnight and we'd be up at 6 a.m. the next morning. Like that was the worst. So
Yeah.
Good on those guys because they're working their butts off. So glad they get some downtime.
Yeah. I just had a thought pop in my head. Damn it, it's gone. Oh,
Bad brain.
wasn't worth it anyways. But but definitely check out the IG with all the interviews that Lauren is doing. And if you're on site in Albany and you're listening to this, hit her up. She's doing some CrossFit trivia, giving out some sunglasses to everyone. And because she's second right now, you can still support Lydia Fish at the games through every purchase at Third Z. Use the code TEF. 20% will go directly to Lydia through Sunday. So who knows, that could help fund a podium run right there.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, maybe she'll get a little kickback to her supporters. She gets that prize money. All right, man. Well, I won't be around tomorrow, but looking forward to talking things through on Sunday. So that's it. Enjoy day 2 of the games. For Tommy, I'm Sean. Take care of each other. Be better. Talk to you guys soon.
Kiss at the start of a first date. If it's good, it's good. I don't want to wait. When the feeling's right, I'm taking every